After the 2016 U.S. presidential election, much of the American public and political establishment entered a state of shock. A foreign power had hacked, leaked, and manipulated its way into the democratic process. It felt like a technical glitch in the internet age, a problem without a roadmap. Many observers labeled this fake news. But dismissing these events as spontaneous internet rumors or rogue political lies is a trap. That characterization hides the actual scale and intent of the threat. This diagram breaks down the active measure, the primary intelligence tactic used by the Soviet bloc during the Cold War. Unlike passive intelligence gathering, where agents simply steal secrets, an active measure is a directed weapon. It is the methodical output of a massive bureaucracy designed to weaken a target society from the inside out. To survive today's digital version of this tactic, we have to examine its analog blueprints. The historical record shows that true industrial-scale disinformation operates with a level of institutional discipline that most modern definitions of fake news ignore. Without this century of context, open democracies remain blind to how their own realities are being systematically engineered against them. In 1950s West Berlin, the CIA operated a massive disinformation front under the codename L.C. Kasich. It was a formally registered public relations and publishing firm. It maintained a staff of dozens of employees who received full tax benefits, standard raises, and end-of-year holiday bonuses. It functioned as an efficient corporate bureaucracy. This chart visualizes the scale of that office's output. In 1957 alone, L.C. Kasich produced over 850,000 forged media items. These items, newspapers, brochures, and magazines, were distributed across the border into East Germany. The CIA utilized an indirect approach to subversion. They funded high-end jazz magazines featuring Western icons like Louis Armstrong, depicted here. By associating Western values with edgy bohemian culture, they created a Trojan horse intended to undermine communist youth organizations. The office even experimented with astrology. They printed fake horoscopes and mailed them to specific East German Stasi officers. These charts were designed to predict professional doom and personal failure, inducing psychological uncertainty within the secret police. These operations show that disinformation is never a spontaneous outburst. It is the calculated, institutional product of a massive bureaucracy. By the 1960s, the KGB had professionalized its own disinformation units, focusing heavily on exploiting racial tensions within the United States and across the African continent. Initial Soviet efforts relied on crude fabrications. In 1960, they mailed forged Ku Klux Klan hate letters, shown here, to African UN delegates in New York. The forgery was filled with obvious linguistic errors and absurd, over-the-top threats. It featured crude cartoons designed to spark immediate, emotional outrage among the visiting diplomats. But the KGB quickly evolved. They shifted to a pamphlet titled "To Our Dear Friends," which abandoned sloppy fakes in favor of documented reality. The pamphlet used accurate statistics, quoted respected American news organizations, and included real, graphic photographs of lynchings in the American South. The most effective campaigns rely on this mix. They take factual, verifiable atrocities and flank them with subtle lies to drive a wedge into a nation's existing societal fractures. In 1957, these operations moved beyond the printed page. Ominous leaflets began appearing across Western Europe from a seemingly organic neo-Nazi group called the Kampfverband. The Kampfverband was a complete phantom. It was invented on paper by Czechoslovak intelligence, using fake logos and deliberately stilted German grammar to pit Western allies against one another. The lie eventually escalated to physical violence. Czechoslovak agents mailed a package to a French prefect in Strasbourg containing an electronic explosive device hidden inside a box of fine Cuban cigars. The prefect's wife, Henriette Trémaux, opened the box in their residence. The resulting explosion killed her instantly and sent shockwaves through the French political establishment. This violence served a specific intelligence objective. It legitimized the fake Kampfverband group. By producing a real-world body count, the operation convinced Western intelligence that the Phantom organization was a terrifying, tangible threat. Active measures use physical harm to make engineered fakes appear real. They force an adversary to react to a crisis that was manufactured in an office hundreds of miles away. By the late 1950s, a historical shift occurred. The United States began shutting down its most successful disinformation fronts, including L.C. Kasich. This shift was driven by the liberal epistemic order. As this diagram depicts, an open society relies on pillars of shared truth, institutions like empirical science, investigative journalism, and the rule of law. Active measures corrode these pillars. When a democracy engages in industrial-scale deception, it undermines the very administrative legitimacy it needs to function. While the West largely retreated from the disinformation battlefield to protect its own institutions, the Soviet bloc, which faced no such paradox, spent the next several decades perfecting the art. Today, the internet has removed the friction from these operations. What once required a physical printing plant and a network of mail carriers now happens at the speed of a click. The modern culture of hacker anonymity has provided a convenient cover for old-school intelligence tactics. This image of the Guy Fawkes mask represents a new cloak for state-sponsored deception, allowing foreign agents to pose as grassroots activists. Automated bots and social media algorithms have taken these slow-moving Cold War tactics and made them high-tempo and remote, allowing engineered effects to scale without human intervention. Disinformation is an attack on a society's ability to assess facts and self-correct. The perpetrators are weaponizing our own realities, using our shared fractures to dismantle the foundation of open debate.